if I was asked to shut everything down, I took that as a generic question of, am I going to follow the science? I am going to insist, and I insist now without any authority, that every responsible person in this country, when they're out in public or not in a cohort that they have lived with because they know they haven't spread it their husband, wife, etc., that they wear a mask. That they wear a mask and keep socially distanced.
Oh, which bridge is long? From Marion? No, it goes from San Francisco to Marion.
By the way, when I
Marion.
find these folks talking about my freedom,
Oh, that's another little town.
patriotism, why do you wear a
It's
mask?
still long though.
To protect your neighbor,
Mm,
to keep someone else from getting sick and maybe dying. I call that patriotic. United States of America. Every generation makes sacrifices to help others.
true.
It's a crisis. But so you see, you suggested there'd be some kind of
Dinosaurs had to go extinct,
so now you're saying
so we could start voting.
what I suggested was I would
Dragons had to go extinct, so we could start voting.
There's a question
Yeah.
whether a president under the Constitution.
I would actually kind of
So
wish I had
Trump kind of wants people to go extinct.
Good luck. You're gonna have to go extinct.
You know, you can't do things the Constitution doesn't allow you to.
But like you said, but remember when we were talking about dragons and how they flew up really high in the sky and laid a bunch of eggs? I want to actually get a dragon egg and raise it. I'm pretty sure they eat raw fish.
What you're doing is irresponsible. Make
Right.
sure
I don't know where my students are.
and the vast majority
I don't know where my friends are.
One more quick campaign question. You raised $364.5 million for campaign.
They say the bay is too deep. The current's too strong. The wind's blowing in from the ocean to here.
I tell you what, look,
But I know my pop can do it. Whenever he's floating to the bridge mom laughs. There's a crew of more than 1,000 men, probably because they have to build like the ropes and everything, the bridge, and like the things that go into the water. So, of course, they'd have to have a lot of people to go.
And by the way, I think the average contribution was like
Let's go to Boston. Oh, it's lunchtime right now.
Wait, what?
Well, lunch is over. You're supposed to log in right now. Go to class now.
Say that shows some genuine enthusiasm about wanting to make sure that we have a chance of becoming president of the States. And so, what I
I can't believe it's left through lunch.
is trying to explain to American people how I want to impact the country, what I want to do to make the country better, why I'm so confident we can do it, why I'm so confident that we can bring the country together and be in a better position than before this crisis occurred. Because there's been so many fissures exposed as a consequence of what's happened that people are now realizing, my Lord, I didn't know that people in that circumstance didn't have that kind of help. I didn't know whatever. And so I think we have an enormous opportunity to bring the country together. And once again, lead the world. And you've heard me say it 100 times, not just by the example of our power, but the power of our example. Thank you all so very much for taking the time. Thank you. I know you always ask the hostile question, but go ahead.
You said that you warned President Trump in January that there was going to be a pandemic and what needed to be done. If you knew that, then why were you still hosting crowded campaign rallies in March?
Now, what I talked about was not what had to be done. What I said, you got to take this seriously. You've got to insist that we have access to Wuhan. Insist that we have access to China to find out for ourselves. We had 44 people from CDC there. You cannot continue to talk about the president of China saying he's done a marvelous job. He's doing a great job. When it got up to March, I kept saying, look, you've got to vote. protective equipment and gear and ventilators. Use that authority. Use it to go out there now and don't wait. And don't wait to talk about the need for us to have masks. And don't wait to talk about, that's what I talked about. And then I began to lay out for him. We actually had a conversation. I can't remember when it was. I think it was March. Maybe it was April, in that range. And he said, if I need help, I want to talk to him. So I talked to him. I laid out what I thought should be done to be able to reopen safely and the things we should do. And he was very polite. He listened, and he said he'd think about it, and that was the end of it. And so what began to become really clear is that as the science began to show that this was able to spread much more easily than people thought, two issues. Was a pandemic coming? And what's the way it did the most damage? And as that became clearer and clearer, we concluded that we just can't continue to have these large rallies. And